Episode 6 of Light Shop begins with the mortician duo paying their respects to Ji Young's body, explaining how the 3-day wake is the final chance for the deceased to say their goodbyes.
보내드렸지. 시간이 필요하지. 3일 시간을 드리는 건 떠나는 분에 대한 마지막이 3일 시간밖에 남지 않았다는 거야.
Ji Young, now able to speak as a soul, reflects on how she used to wait for Hyunmin. She remembers the past which was full of life and love.
사랑해.
보고 싶어.
At the bus stop where she lingers, Hyunmin encounters her but doesn't recognize her. In the meanwhile, in the present world, two people go to clean up Ji Young's house. Apparently, the landlord wants to keep the suicide hush-hush, so they come the night after her death. However, soon, one of the men senses something in the house and decides they should come back later. But the person he senses is Hyunmin, not Ji Young. Hyunmin's a wandering spirit who doesn't know what's happening. The suitcase that Ji Young has been rolling around actually contains supplies she can use to stitch Hyunmin up whenever he passes out. It happens way too often, and it might be a good sign because he might be trying to wake up. While waiting on the same bus stop, Ji Young tries to talk to Hyunmin as he gets off the bus, but he doesn't recognize her. To which she says she doesn't have much time and that tomorrow is the last day. In the morgue, the undertaker can't open the door to the freezer in which Ji Young's body is. He then says she must be very resentful and that they should wait. Now, in flashbacks, we see that the detective Yang and his wife had a miscarriage. There's a scene where he's in a school with locker that all have names on them. One name is Sarang, which means love, and another is Hisal, which means sunshine. The detective had said that they had already chosen a name for the kid, so maybe these were a couple of the name choices. Like Hyunmin, Detective Yang is also stuck in this loop where he is not able to understand what is happening. Later, Hyunmin meets Hyunju in the elevator of their building, and she doesn't interact with him because she sees that his chest is bleeding, but he seems to not notice this. But just before he enters his flat, he asks her if she's seen him before. He can't figure out when he moved to this apartment, and he asks Hyunju if she knows. She also seems to be stunned by the question. And he passes out again. We see Ji Young coming to save him. Hyunju looks shocked and goes inside her house quickly. Hyunju has a full-on meltdown, saying her mom doesn't care for her and that nobody talks to her, and her friends all ignore her, so she's never going to leave home. If Hyunju decides to stay home, she might never get to be alive again, but I'm not sure how her mom is going to help her get out if she's unable to talk to her. Youngji meets an old woman in the basement of the hospital and talks to her. The old woman asks her how she can see her, and if she's dead, but Youngji says she once had a near-death experience, and since then she's been able to interact with ghosts. The old woman asks her if she can just tell her things are going to be okay because she doesn't want to forget the life she lived. Youngji doesn't say anything, because she doesn't know if things will be alright. Instead, she asks the old lady how she used to look after the grandson who was just sitting next to her a little while before. Sometimes, all you need is some comforting. The next thing we know, Youngji can see Ji Young crying by Hyunmin's bed. She walks up to the bed and says that they've done everything they can to save him, but maybe it's not about his willpower alone, and maybe someone can help him.
의지란 게 어디서 오는 건지 잘 모르겠어요. 다만 어쩌면 그 의지란 게 혼자만의 것은 아닐 수도 있지 않을까요?
어떤 힘으로 계속 이렇게 있는지 참 둘러싸요. 저는 이게 참 모르겠네.
이만의 의지가 뭔데? 그 의지가 어디서
Scene shifts to writer Sun Hee, who is seen remembering everything that happened before the accident and starts crying. We can see the shadow of Hyun beside Sun Hee consoling her.
갑자기 예전에 서울에서 떨어지는 거야. 기분에 앞으로 살려서.
After her shift, Youngji meets the little boy who was on the bus. Now we've never seen this boy before because he didn't go into a coma. Jiying saved his life. Jiying had put his basketball bag around the kid's neck, which probably helped him float up to the surface, saving his life. Yingji figures out who the kid is talking about and tells him to give her the ball so she can give it to Jiying. She even tells him that he just assisted her, but it seems the detective realizes that he is not in the real world when he tries to light his lighter. The lighter never worked in the real world and was a present from his wife. But here it works, kind of like the spinning top from Inception, and it makes him realize that his body is the thing that is really strange. The detective goes to the light shop and asks the owner what this place really is. The owner simply takes his shades off, showing that he has the same kind of eyes as the Chinese restaurant owner, cat-like. He then says he also used to ask the same questions. I guess the light shop owner was simply stuck in the light shop for many years and then became a keeper.
다른 사람들 음식을 드시는 사람인데 다른 사람들 예 이거 중국적인 다양한 사람들입니다. 여기 중국까지 그럼 이것은 어딥니까? 이것은 달라요. 어떻게 알아요? 거기 끝나잖아요. 내가 이상한 건지 이곳이 이상한 건지 알아야겠습니다. 이것은 어딥니까? 내가 같은 질문했었죠.